Hello everyone, and welcome to a very nice game between two World Chess Championship challengers. Caruana being the 2018 World Chess Championship challenger, and of course Karjakin being the 2016 World Chess Championship challenger. But before we talk about this matchup a bit, and of course we check out the game, we do have a nice photo challenge. So who is the little gentleman in the photo? There you have it, best of luck to everyone. And we also have a very nice photo that really, intrigued me. I do hope you enjoy it. There you have it. It's a photo by two of Caruana's fans. The gentleman on the left, there you have, he has a nice t-shirt for the 2018 Carlsen vs Caruana Championship saying "Bring it home." And on the right you have also a gentleman that, as you can see, carries around a huge Fabiano Caruana head with him. So definitely some excellent support going on there, and with fans like these, what could possibly go wrong? So I do hope you enjoyed that. Now let's see how the game went. Caruana here has the white pieces, and it's very interesting as they go for Karjakin goes for the Nimzo Indian defense. D4, knight to F6, C4, E6, knight to C3, and here you can see that the game did start with a D4, so obviously Caruana is interested in a fight, and by allowing this Nimzo Indian, bishop to B4, Karjakin is also very much up for a fight. And here we have G3, a move that has been very present lately, and white has been trying to refute the Nimzo Indian with this move order. We have castles, bishop to G2, and the D5 now. Knight to F3, D captures on C4, we have castles, and the knight to C6. So this has all been played plenty of times. Queen to A4, and then now comes bishop to D7. We have bishop to G5, and then now A5. This A5 move has never been played before. It's probably, or maybe, something that Karjakin prepared. But the engine doesn't mind this move. The engine says it's a fine move. I personally don't like it, but who am I to judge moves? But I don't like it simply because it's a pawn move. Once you push a pawn to A5, you can never move it back, and I don't really see what the pawn is doing there. It seems like really seems like an engine move. But okay, Caruana finds the best refutation for this idea. He plays bishop captures on F6, queen captures, and now A3. As Karjakin did push A5, now he can simply ask, what are the future whereabouts of this bishop. So you can either capture or move the bishop back. Here, bishop captures on C3 was played, but you also have to figure out whether to go for this very, very interesting knight captures on D4 move, which would open up a discovered attack here. What would happen if Karjakin went for this? If knight captures on D4, of course queen captures on D7, now comes bishop captures on C3, pawn captures, and the knight captures on E2 with check, king moves, and now knight captures on C3. So you sacrifice the piece, but you have 3 pawns in return. So far 4 pawns, it's 8 pawns to 4, but of course queen can capture on C7. For example, queen captures, now B5, rook to E1, and the other rook comes to C8, and it seems like a very interesting, not an exchange sacrifice, but it's not really even a sacrifice. You have 3 pawns for the piece, and 3 connected pawns. So this could be very interesting in the future. I mean, some players would definitely enjoy playing this with the black pieces. But okay, after A3, bishop captures on C3 was played, B captures on C3, and while Karjakin can still go for this idea, instead he goes queen to D8. He is not interested in this. We have queen captures on C4, and now comes A4. So okay, Karjakin prefers this plan. Now this A5 to A4 starts making sense. Knight is coming to A5, and then he created a nice outpost for this knight on B3. Knight to D2. Caruana already prepares, as he knows this knight wants to find a nice outpost on B3, so he puts his knight on D2. Also opens up his very strong light square bishop here. Knight to A5 with an attack on the queen, queen to B7, pressuring the B7 pawn, as now it's attacked twice, and now rook to A7. We have rook 8 to B1, and now B6, as the rook is no longer on A8. We have E3, and now C4, bishop to C6, bishop captures on C6, knight captures on C6, and now queen to B5. attacking the knight on c6, queen to a8, and then now comes c4. So Karjakin manages to keep everything in order, but he's, his pieces are very passive. The knight isn't all that great on c6. The queen is stuck on a8, guarding the knight. You still have to figure out what to do with this rook. So not the greatest, of positions for black. You could immediately play rook to a5 to kick away the queen, but Karjakin first goes rook to d8. He develops the rook. We have rook f to c1, and now comes e5. Of course, you don't want to allow this exchange, so why not push a pawn? We have d5 attacking Karjakin's knight. Knight to b8, pushing Karjakin's pieces even further back, and now c5. And okay, this is a beautiful temporary pawn sacrifice that will result in a lot of complications. Rook to a5 first, attacking the queen. Queen moves, and now queen captures on d5. Pawn captures on b6, we have pawn captures on b6, and now knight to c4, attacking the rook and also the pawn on b6 twice. So we have rook to c5, we have queen captures on b6, and here you have to decide what to do. Of course, this is not a free knight. Of course, for example, if you capture it, you get rook captures, and queen captures on d8 will be checkmate, as this rook is undefended. But what are some of your other options? Well, there really aren't all that many. Rook to f8 is a move that has to be played. Rook to f8, and you have to allow this queen captures on b8. Of course, now you will not capture the queen, as this will once again result in checkmate, because black has so many back rank weaknesses. After you give up all the material here, it will result once again in checkmate. But after this rook to f8 move, you have to allow this and then capture on c4. But the problem now is after rook captures, queen captures, Fabiano will capture on e5, and black will lose a pawn here. And here Karjakin will be suffering for a very long time, for a couple of more hours, as he's down a pawn, but he would have the opportunity to prove his title as being the Minister of Defense. But instead, here Karjakin thought that he had this luxury of playing f6, simply creating an escape square for the king, and while this does create an escape square for the king, it loses in so many other ways. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find not one, but rather two continuations that allow Caruana to take advantage of this f6 move. I'll give it a couple of seconds for you to decide whether you want to do it or not, as usual. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you have just defeated the Minister of Defense. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, Caruana played rook to d1, but e4 seems to be an even greater move. First, let's see the move Caruana did not play. e4. The queen has to keep an eye on the c5 rook and on the d8 rook. Both rooks are undefended. And also you have to keep an eye on this knight because of so many back rank weaknesses. So here, after the queen is attacked, queen to d4, a square that allows the queen to keep an eye on both rooks, but now comes queen to e6 check. And now it doesn't matter if the king goes to f8 or h8, everything, both lose to the same idea, knight to d6. And now you can see that the knight is threatening to come to f7, which would result in a smothered mate, and there really isn't all that much you can do here. If you play rook captures on c1 with check, rook captures, again, there is no defense against the knight to f7 check. So you will either at least lose the game in a terrible way, which is terrible. I mean, if you capture the knight, then, like we said, there are simply too many back rank weaknesses. This would result in checkmate. And even if you go with a different move order, if you don't capture on c1, if you go for queen captures on d6 immediately, still too many back rank weaknesses. You can't even afford to capture here now. Once again, this will result in checkmate. A rook goes back, rook captures on d8, and once again this is checkmate. But Caruana didn't enjoy this move order. After f6, he played rook to d1, which pretty much is the same thing. It's hard to say why Karjakin played this. It's unimaginable that Karjakin would miss rook to d1. Which, okay, with e4 it's very hard to imagine. But okay, rook to d1, and now you don't have any options. If you move the queen, rook captures rook, which would result in checkmate. And of course, if you capture on d1, which is what Karjakin played, rook captures on d1, rook captures on d1. Here, Fabiano played king to g2, and it was in this position on move 30 that Sergey Karjakin resigned the game. Why did he resign? Well, your rook is under attack on c5, and also your knight is under attack on b8. The only move that protects both of these pieces is knight to d7. And now after queen to e6 check, you have two options. Either you will go to h8 and then you're getting checkmated. After knight f8, queen captures on f8 will be checkmate. And on the other hand, after this queen to e6 check, you could go to f8, but then again, knight to d6, you will still lose to this idea. Again, there's the threat of checkmate, and you have no options here. You have to give up the rook for the knight. Queen captures with check, and after king e8, queen e6, king moves, for example, check, king moves, queen captures on h7. You will also lose a lot of these pawns, and then white is up simply too much material. With all the pawns on the king side, white will easily win this game. So yeah, but it's also very strange that after this f6 move, Caruana didn't go for e4. Although there doesn't seem to be any moves that can complicate life for Caruana. Seems like a much cleaner way than rook to d1, but I'm sure he saw a lot of reasons why to play rook to d1 instead. So that's the game from round 6 of the 2018 Sinquefield Cup between two World Chess Championship challengers. I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Dennis Tomlinson, Joseph Burnett, Alexandru Epuran, Jack Neve III, and David Domini Fowler for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. And it's very interesting. Let's just check out something here. Here you have the current standings after round 6. So it's Fabiano Caruana in first place. Sole leader with 4 points, then Carlsen with 3.5, Grishuk with 3.5, Mamedyarov and Aryan also with 3.5, then Maxim Vachev-Lagrave with 3, Anand with 3, Wesley So with 2.5, Nakamura with 2, and Sergey Karjakin, who is having probably the worst tournament in a very long time, in last place. And also, we have this here. So today, as I'm uploading the video now, like in an hour, this game will start. We will have in round 7 Magnus Carlsen versus Fabiano Caruana. So as you can see, so far they have played 10 games that Carlsen won, 5 games that Caruana won, and 17 of those were drawn. In 2014, you can see that Caruana won a game in the Sinquefield Cup. In 2015, Carlsen won, and in 2017 was a draw. But one of the most interesting things, we do have this nice preview. These are the live ratings. So as you can see, Carlsen is on -6 and 6.4, and Caruana is on +6.2. So in their next game in the Sinquefield Cup, if Caruana manages to beat Carlsen with the black pieces, in the live ratings he might overtake Carlsen. No, if he wins the game, he will overtake Carlsen as the #1 highest rated player in the world. But of course, that still means nothing. He still has to finish the tournament without losing any games, or he after that game he will still have to win at least as many points in Carlsen to keep that advantage, and then he has to keep that advantage up until the next rating, until the first in the next month. But yeah, it would be very interesting because Magnus Carlsen has been the highest rated player in the world ever since 2011, I believe. So it would definitely, shake the chess world. But yeah, that's basically it. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon with another nice video. It will either be from the Bobby Fischer series or the Sinquefield Cup, but either way, as it is happening now, it will be an American's conquest of the chess Olympus. So yeah, once again, thank you all, and I'll see you soon.